Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the VP Concepts YouTube channel. This month we are finally getting to a video that I've been wanting to do for 3.5 months now, but due to my knee injury I had with my meniscus, I wasn't able to get down and sit Indian style and get under the area I wanted to do this project on, and now we're at the point where we can. Also, I've had a lot of decision making and a lot of changes in how I do my audio when it comes to what I'm doing in the house, what I'm doing portable. My past review, you saw I did the Ibasso DX180, which is incredible, and it's really changed my whole perspective on audio and what you can get for the money and priorities and just lifestyle changes. So a lot is in flux, and obviously I love keeping the channel going. I love updating you when I do things, when new things come into my life that I can share with you and my experiences. That's all this channel has ever been about, and it will continue to be. So today, guys, I'm going to discuss my my network, and y'all remember this. This is the LAN Purifier by ifI Audio. Man, a lot of you guys, I mean hundreds of you guys, I've had thousands of views on this, but hundreds of you guys purchased this little device for your network and you loved it. Now, the issue I had when I got here, guys, is that I cannot use, you remember this? Let me get up here. This was my router that I had, my Nighthawk, and I wasn't able to use this when I moved here because there's a proprietary setup that they have here with a built-in modem router, and I have to use their service. I'm not going to get into who it is and why and what, but it's this device here, okay? Now, I had this over here when I first moved in, under my computer audio system. And I plugged this into it and into the LAN 1 input and ran it directly hardwired, and actually had just at the time only used the Ethernet cable that I had ran into it. And it sounded really bad, just by itself, just the cord. So when I plugged this in between my device here, it worked just like it did in Seattle. But obviously I didn't have the line conditioner with the router and all those extra things plugged into it, and it just didn't sound as good, and I was really frustrated. So what I did is, I pulled out my old Wire World cable here from Seattle, and I plugged that in. I got an adapter. So I'll get down on the floor here so you can see it. See that adapter down there? So I plugged it in that way, and believe it or not, just that 3 feet, which still, it's hard to quantify, but cables do make a difference even with Ethernet. I was able to get some of that digital glare and hashiness out of the performance, and it sounded much better. And at that point, I said, okay, well, maybe I'm done. So I ended up moving the box, as you can see, over here, because this is where the big system is. I do have the audio cable running over to the computer, but I also have my Apple TV and my Sennheiser Ambio Max, and I really wanted to be able to hardwire those devices in. So I moved it over here, ran the wires up to the Apple TV and to the soundbar, and then put this in the device, and it didn't sound the same. It actually made one line sound good, which was the soundbar, but it was making the big rig sound bad. And I thought, well, crap, man, what do I do now? I mean, this has worked every time. It worked over here. I don't understand why moving it on the wall here is affecting the line poorly, because whatever this is plugged into, it usually makes it sound better. So I was like, now what? I'm really not happy. So I reached out to ifI, talked to my rep over there, and he told me about a fairly new device they had called SilentPower, and it's a LAN Purifier Pro. So it's this on steroids. And it actually optically isolates everything. So what I was thinking is, well, wait a minute. I can kind of do what I was doing in Seattle now. I can hook up a line conditioner to that outlet, plug in the power to this. It looks like a little apple cube. And then plug in my, my network switch again. And put this between the modem router over there and the switch. And this will optically isolate everything off of that damn modem router that I don't like. I don't think it's going to be as good as my Nighthawk, but it may be. So this is a $300 device. This thing was what, at the time, $60, $70 when I got it. So this is a big upgrade, but I'll be able to do a lot more with it if it actually optically isolates. So I'm going to read this off real quick. Just basically, the LAN iPurifier Pro offers a seamless plug-and-play mechanism designed to enhance the connection between the router or switch and network streamer, significantly improving audio and video streaming quality. The LAN iPurifier Pro utilizes optical galvanization or galvanic isolation technology to effectively isolate and eliminate electrical noise and interference emanating from the router or switch. And that's the problem I'm having. And it says, which in turn minimizes system noise, errors, and jitter. And so basically it offers galvanic isolation to isolate electrical noise and interference, reduces system noise, errors, and jitter from the router or switch, employs cutting-edge tech, including adaptive equalization, error correction, and crosstalk cancellation, ensuring a cleaner signal. And then ultra-low noise internal DC-DC power supply design, supports 1 terabyte, okay? So you guys can go read about this, obviously, on their website, but I wanted to do an unboxing, hook this baby up, and see if it's going to give me anything near what I was getting with this little guy in Seattle, because now I can't use this. For some reason, the modem router doesn't like it, and that's affecting other things on the line, and I can't have that because I've got the computer system hardwired, I've got the big system hardwired. I am doing a lot of changes in the big system with components. I'll be updating you on that. But in the meantime, I want to hear if this thing's going to make a change in the room for the better for $300. In the world of hi-fi, that's pretty inexpensive if it's going to optically isolate my whole network and give me better sound when I'm streaming Tidal, and also when I'm watching TV on the Apple TV and listening on the soundbar. Okay, so let's unbox this baby, see what we got here. Okay, so this thing obviously takes 2 hands to do this with, so I pop the box open. Inside you get this cardboard protector, and you take it out, and here's the device. It has the 4 little feet you put on, and gives you some indicators on how you're connected, which are in the direction manual. You've got your in and out, standard, and then you're optically isolated. There's your little power supply connector. It comes with like a little apple brick, and it is covered in this when you open it. It has a little protector on it, but again, I open that because I have one hand. And here's the power supply. Really cool, small little guy. Won't be hard to hook up at all. And then it gives you the again, it's just like Apple, right? Got your little power supply connector that goes into the unit, and this goes into the power supply. And then here it even gives you a small little Ethernet cable. So yeah, this will go in between the modem router and the network switch. The network switch will be fully isolated, and then everything I run off of it will be isolated, and I think it's going to be pretty cool if this thing works. Again, I know this isn't the most glamorous of videos when it comes to network and stuff like that, but boy, did I notice a difference in Seattle. When I upgraded my network, I had less dropouts on Tidal, and everything sounded so much better. Here's your little cheat sheet. It tells you basically your power indicators, your inputs, your outputs, no data, when data comes through. So it is a full-blown independent, high-quality device, and it's also aluminum. It's not plastic. So I think for the money, if this thing does what it's supposed to be, I'm going to solve my problem here at the house. So let's go hook everything up just to show you where I'm putting this at. I've already mounted the power supply, the APC, line conditioner. I'm not putting it on the PS audio. I'm keeping the TV system isolated from the network. So I ran this, and then I'll put the network switch and the optical isolator here. So it'll look like a nice clean install. I will use my higher end cables. Everything's over there. So it'll be a little bit bulky, but hell, who cares? I mean, it's going to be hidden under here. And if I ever get a subwoofer, you won't even see it. At some point, maybe I'll get a sub for the soundbar, but it really doesn't need it in here. Okay, so I'm going to cut to the installation done so you don't have to sit through that. And then we'll go to the audio demo. Here we go. Okay, guys, we are back, and I have been testing the hell out of this thing to give you guys a really, really fair and honest judgment of what this thing really does. Because again, I had the smaller device in Seattle, and this is, you know, you're going from 60, 70 bucks to 300, right? So I just didn't know what to expect when I got this thing. And again, when I moved in here, the modem router over there was here, and I didn't have the big rig set up yet, and I didn't even have the soundbar set up yet over there. I was just wanted my music right away, so I spent a lot of my first couple of weeks getting this dialed in, and, you know, retreating all the contacts and the cables and getting everything wired in and, you know, set up right. And I since have actually upgraded the computer from a 2015 model to a 2012 model to 2020 model. And just, you know, slowly been working with this one in the past 7 months. And when I first plugged that thing in to the, you know, basically I have a device here that now converts USB A to C. I didn't have that before. My old computer was just USB A. But I hooked that Ethernet up, and I did not like what I heard. It was very stringent, very harsh, just, you know, grainy. It just really pissed me off, to be honest with you. And, you know, a quick fix was to pull out my cable, like I said over here, and upgrade my Ethernet cable there with the Wire World, and that did warm things up, but it didn't take it away. And I ended up actually going what do you call it? Over the network, right? Wi-Fi. I just didn't even hardwire it in because it sounded so bad. On the Wi-Fi, it took that away. So I knew that it was definitely happening on that line. And again, Ethernet cables carry noise. Who the hell would have thought, right? I just thought it was the modem router, you know, had something to do with that. But really, that cable is pretty shitty because when I upgraded the cable to the Wire World, it took some of it away. So there's more than just one thing going on is my point, right? It's the modem router and it's the cable and isolating that, you know, off of the network, off of the router, if you're going to hardwire it, trying to isolate that. And that was the whole point of doing this, is that I really wasn't even listening anymore to Tidal over here. I was just listening to my burned in discs, my CDs. So, you know, that little device, when everything got moved over here and I hooked it in, it was only working for some reason on the port it was plugged into at the house in Seattle. Whenever I hooked it into the modem router at the back of my Blackhawk I showed you a minute ago, everything was affected positively. But on this device, it was not. It was affecting the computer. It was affecting the big rig. And I was really getting pissed. So, you know, like I said, I reached out to Ricardo at ifI Audio, told him my situation, that the SPDIF little purifier isn't working the way it was in Seattle. And I think there's you know, I'm stuck with this damn proprietary, you know, cheap box, and it's really noisy. And what do I do? And he said, you know, I'm going to send you out this optical isolator. He goes, look, if it, you know, try it. If you don't like it, just send it back to me. If you like it and it actually changes the sound and does what you need to do in the house, just do a review on it. Keep the thing, do a review. And for your time. So I said, screw it, I'm going to do it. I don't care how much work it takes. And it took a lot of work, but I'm going to do it so I can give feedback on this thing. And guys, I don't even know where to freaking start, man. So let's just go to the actual connections, okay? So what I did is, again, this is an APC line conditioner. When I tried it in Seattle, it did not affect any of the other outlets on the line with my higher end 2-channel setup. So I love that. So, you know, in Seattle, I have my computers plugged into this, so it wasn't introducing any noise into the other outlets in the house when I was working and stuff. So what this is this is just the power supplies, the two power supplies. This is to the switch, and this is to the to the optical isolator, SilentPower. What do they call this thing? SilentPower? Yeah. Anyway, so that was no problem. I went ahead and what I did is I had my PS Audio power punch cables that have ferrite jacket in it, and I ran those into the outlets so that would help, right? Yeah, having ferrite would help. So that was the, again, I had this set up in the closet in Seattle, and unfortunately I have to do it down here because the box is not in the closet, but I'm gonna build something here to cover this up. But anyway, so that helps, all right? So this is a sum of its parts, right? I'm trying to be honest and say it's a sum of its parts. That's gonna help a lot, having a line conditioner and having the ferrite jacket and upgraded power cords for these power supplies, okay? That was the first step. Then we hooked up the network switch, and I actually have another one of my higher end cables that's going from the isolator to the Netgear, right, to the switch. So that wire world cable. So that's also a positive, right, for making changes. And here from the box, we just did an out that was provided by ifI with the unit into the in, and then it isolates it into the out, which is the switch. Now, I did put some of my Shinyata dark field little elevators or dividers between the power lines coming in and the actual Ethernet cables, because again, I'm an audio tweaker, right? So I like those audio tweaks, so I did that. And then this little guy gives you all the indicators on it that you need. It shows you that you actually have power, and that the in and out of the isolator are operative, that you are actually getting signal, and that it is optically isolated and the filtering's working, okay? So what I did is I spent the time to hook this damn thing up. I ran, finally, an Ethernet cable into my Apple TV and into my soundbar. And again, when I did that, when I moved in, I thought, hey, now the computer audio is set up, let's get the soundbar mounted and let's get this thing calibrated. It took me about 50 calibrations at least to get it to where the audio sounded as good as the video. That was very important to me, because when you're listening to stuff like this on YouTube, when you're having fun, right? This is this is Foreplay when they were live in concert. I really like listening to the music, and the soundbar, although it's not quote unquote audiophile, it sounds very good when you actually calibrate it right and have the patience. It puts out a really nice musical sound that you can really enjoy concerts with. I mean, in a big way. So when I originally hooked them up with just the box, it sounded like crap. I mean, again, stringent, etched, closed in. I was so pissed, so I had to go Wi-Fi again on the Apple TV and on the soundbar. And because the Wi-Fi is so poor with this box, I was getting slow load times and buffering, and it would take time to switch channels, and it was just really pissing me off. So when I did this today, the first thing I did before even my computer audio system was plug in the soundbar and plug in a concert and listen and cross my fingers. Because this week, when I was looking for power supplies to go into the switch, I actually have an ifI iPower wall wart filter that I put on to see if it would help it, and it actually changed the sound to where I didn't like it. Everything became light and airy, yes, but the leading edges of instruments were rolled off. The imaging wasn't good, and it didn't have the bass attack that soundbar had on listening to this concert. So I ended up going through 2 or 3 different power supplies until I found one that didn't make any difference to the sound. Okay, this is before I ran anything. I just literally was taking in power supplies and plugging them into that APC line conditioner to see what wouldn't change the audio when I played something on the TV. So I found it, and here you go. So when I hit play, I frickin' couldn't believe it, guys. I'm talking, I don't even have the soundbar in surround mode, okay? Not even in surround mode, and I was getting holographic imaging and dimension coming out from the soundbar. Before, everything was like recessed and closed in, especially when I watch anime at night. I always have to turn the surround on because you can just hear like the voices are coming from the box, from the soundbar. And with this, everything projected out into the room, and I had to double check my settings on my Ambio to see if I had turned on the Ambio, but the light's off over there on it, so it wasn't on. And I thought, Jesus, right away, man, this thing has just brought out everything out into the room in this soundbar. Okay, with that optical isolator, that network cable is not affecting the sound for the worse, it's changing it. I still don't appreciate it. I appreciate it. I still don't understand how a freaking piece of cord with Ethernet on it can damage the signal coming through a device. But it does, guys. I'm experiencing this myself. So then what I did is I just started going through and playing all my music I listened to and all of my channels, and just couldn't believe little nuances coming out and details and things and that were like coming out by my side of my ears. And again, I didn't even have surround on, and nothing got worse. Everything got, like, the bass had better attack. The imaging was there. The sound stage was there. The highs were there. Complete different change from what I was experiencing with this thing before I put this device in. Now, again, some of that has to do with the switch. Some of that has to do with the line conditioner. But again, we're just talking about power going into the switch and power going into the optical isolator, right? That's it. So, guys, I'm stunned, right? I'm totally stunned at what this thing's doing right now. So now we're going to go over to the computer audio. So let me catch my breath and we'll do that next. All right, so here we are, and the computer system, I got so freaking excited listening to the TV that I was like, let me go check my title, let me see how it's doing, because what happened is, and why I had to switch to Wi-Fi, and even a Wi-Fi didn't sound better. When I upgraded the computer, when I burned in all my CDs, and I just found that they were sounding better than Tidal. And in Seattle, Tidal sounded better than my burned in CDs on the computer. So it was really a whole 180, right? I was like, what the hell? So I just really stopped listening to Tidal, and it was depressing me. So what I did is I came over here, hooked up my headphones, and also listened on my Sonos Fabers, but I hooked up these Focal Stellias, and I listened intently to how things sounded just playing Tidal, okay? And then I switched back, A-B'd to my files on my computer. And there was, again, a tremendous change. So things flip now. So when I listened to Tidal, it was very thin and etched and uninvolving. And when I switched to my computer, it was, just had more body and weight and air and just was very smooth. And now when I switched to Tidal, Tidal has more weight and detail and leading edges are sharper. I switched back to the computer and it still sounds great, but it's almost like much lighter and airier sounding. When I switch back to Tidal, there's that authority and that slam and richness that I'm getting. So neither of them are bad, but thank God I don't have one that's good and one that's bad, because that's what I had before I hooked this thing up. So it was also affecting the cable I'm running from the device, all through the living room here, up into the divider and into my connector. It made a difference. And I'm freaking so happy right now. I'm like giddy as a freaking school kid because I'm like so freaking happy. It took me months because my knee was out and I could not make the changes. Okay, so I'm getting sidetracked here. So what I did for the final test, and guys, I'm actually going to do a separate video on what's going on with the computer. With my 2-channel system. I'm making some changes, upgrades, in my opinion, but some people might not think so. But I wanted to go tubes, and I'll get into that later. But for right now, I've got my Felix Audio Echo MK2 that I'm using as a preamp now. It has 3 inputs and an output to an amplifier, and I'm watching the amplifier I'm going to buy, but I'm going to go separates instead of the integrated Macintosh, and enjoy the sound of tubes, because that's something I'm missing in the house, and I've always wanted that. So what I did is, before I hooked everything up, I did an A/B. All right, I was using my iPad here, streaming the Gary Burton Quartet. And I love it because the what's the xylophone or whatever you call that thing, you know, with the bars you hit. I should know that. I love music, but anyways, it has a very sweet sound on that album, and so I really use that to A/B things for tone and timbre. And before I hooked that up, the CD player, and I assumed it was because of the weight, right? The transport's so heavy and everything. That CD player was sounding sweeter than my electric company at DAC was. And also in this changeover, guys, before I had the coax cable going out into the ifI femto clock, and then into the back of the DAC, the coax in. And what I've done now is I decided to isolate the two, since there's no balanced inputs, because I was sharing the balanced input into this for the Mac. So I ran separate my select with WBT connectors into the preamp, separated them. Now, when I go to adjust the still points, I can actually isolate them separately from each other and tune the sound. Before, if I moved anything on that would be affected. If I moved anything on those still points, that would be affected. They were chained together. That's no longer the case. So I can literally fine tune them, move them in and out, and just put them under the device to where they both sound the best they can sound. And that is saving me such a world of hurt that I was having in Seattle. It gave me such a headache. When any of these two would get bumped or moved, they would affect each other. That's not happening anymore. So I got them dialed in the best I could, played them, A/B'd them. This was sounding a bit sweeter than this, and I assumed it was because this was mass loaded, and that's not. It's a lighter device. It's not the case. When I hooked this thing up and I A/B'd them, now the tube amp sounded sweeter on the DAC than it did on the CD player, and I was just stunned. Again, a testament to what this isolator is doing, taking noise out of that Ethernet cable that's going into the back of my DAC. It was affecting it. And so I actually adjusted the still points under the CD player to get it to sound as good as this again. So again, they're like tuning forks, and I love that about these. It's a love-hate relationship. Just don't bump them while you're dusting. But anyway, guys, so that's it. Every single device in the house, from the sound bar to the Apple TV, because again, that's plugged in as well, and they work in perfect synergy with each other, to the computer audio system playing Tidal, compared to my files that I have burned in, my CDs. And over here, streaming or playing a CD on the big rig through the tube preamp, everything got better. So, you know, guys, I don't know what to tell you except the damn thing's magic, all right? So I'm going to flip you upside down here. So with that, guys, that is another video, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It took me hours to hook that damn thing up, and then hours to listen to it. Remember, this thing isn't even burned in yet, if you believe in that. This device is literally just out of the box. I haven't even warmed up the frickin' line conditioner. I haven't warmed up the switch. Everything just came out, got hooked up, and I just A/B'd everything so I could give you guys my input on the video so I can get this out in time, because it's almost the damn end of the month. But the knee healed up. We got her done. The installation was perfect for me. I'm going to get a box to cover that up so you won't see it, since it's not in the closet but under my TV. And we'll have a new toy to play with, guys, because I got a Matrix Audio SPDIF 2 to replace my Duke Audio DDC converter in the computer system. So this bad boy is going to have some competition when that Matrix Audio piece comes in. I've been wanting that thing for, what, 3.5 years now? And finally, I got one in to A/B for you guys, because a lot of guys in the forums want to know if that $60, $70 Duke Audio sounds as good as the Matrix for $500. So with that, guys, thanks for watching the video on network streaming, and we'll talk to you next month. Bye-bye.